ওয়াও! এতক্ষণ এনজয় করেছিলাম। কি চমৎকার ছিল ইন্ট্রোগুলা, কি চমৎকার ভাবে হচ্ছে গিয়ে আরএচকে এন্ট্রি নিয়েছে আর সবগুলা প্লেয়ার আই থিংক রেডি টু আরএচকে এন্ট্রিটা জোস লেভেলে ছিল আই থিংক।
ইয়াস, শুরুতেই বাংলাদেশি টিম রেড হকস একটা চমৎকার এন্ট্রি নিয়েছে। ব্লেডকে শুরুতেই দেখতে পেলাম, সো ভালো লাগছে। আইজিএল শুরুতে একটা চমৎকার এন্ট্রি তো নিয়েছে এবং তাদের দেখে যথেষ্ট কনফিডেন্ট মনে হচ্ছিল এবং একই সাথে সাথে ফ্লুক্সের কথা বলুন, নেটশটের কথা বলুন, প্রত্যেকটা টিমই কিন্তু তাদের জায়গা দখল করে নিয়েছে, আসন দখল করে নিয়েছে। এইবার জাস্ট নিজেকে প্রমাণ করার বাকি, খুব দ্রুত ম্যাচ তো শুরু হয়ে যাবে এবং অডিয়েন্স বি রেডি, শুরু হয়ে যাবে খুবই দ্রুত স্পোর্টস ওয়ার্ল্ড কাপ 2025 এর আজকে প্রথম ম্যাচ এবং আমরা তো আছি পুরোটা জার্নি জুড়ে এবং যারা আপনারা অডিয়েন্স আছে নিজের টিমকে, নিজের পছন্দের টিমকে এবং নিজের কান্ট্রিকে সাপোর্ট করতে একেবারেই ভুলবেন না। ইলিশনিস ভাই, এন্ড কি মনে
ইয়েস
হচ্ছে
ভাই।
আজকের দিনের
ও
প্রথম ম্যাচ শুরু হয়ে যাবে খুবই দ্রুত, কি বলতে চাইবেন প্রথম ম্যাচের টিমগুলোকে নিয়ে?
আই থিংক আমরা একটা মাইলস্টোন সেট করব আজকে দিনে ফার্স্ট ম্যাচে আরএচকে জন্য। আই থিংক আমরা সবাই চাচ্ছি আরএচকে ফার্স্ট ম্যাচে যাতে একটা ভুইয়ার আই থিংক শেষ পর্যায়ে যেতে পারে এবং বলছিলাম কি চমৎকার ছিল ইন্ট্রোগুলা, কি চমৎকার ভাবে হচ্ছে গিয়ে আরএচকে এন্ট্রি নিয়েছে আর সব টিমগুলো আই থিংক আরএচকে কে যেই চোখে বর্তমানে এখন দেখছে সেই জিনিসটা চেঞ্জ হয়ে যাবে। আই থিংক অন্য কিছু একটা হবে।
একদম হিরো বনে যাবে পুরো দেশের কাছে এবং আমরাও দেখতে চাই টিম আরএইচ কে তাদের ভালো পারফরমেন্স দেখাক এবং যেহেতু এশিয়া থেকে আরো একটি টিম আছে হট শটস এবং তারাও কিন্তু নিজের দেশের জন্য, নিজের এই পুরো সাইটটা রান করার জন্য, নিজের কান্ট্রিকে আর একবার রিপ্রেজেন্ট করার জন্য এবং একই সাথে সাথে আমাদের থাইল্যান্ড টিম, ব্রাজিল টিম এন্ড ইন্দোনেশিয়া থেকে প্রত্যেকটা টিম আজকে লড়াইতে পার্টিসিপেট তো করছেই। প্রথম ম্যাচ আমরা দেখেছিলাম খানিকক্ষণ আগে, বারমুডা দিয়ে শুরু হবে, একেবারে চমৎকার একটা ম্যাপ ইলিশনিস ভাই এবং আমার মনে হয় যে
ইয়েস।
এই ম্যাপের মধ্যে টিমরা যথেষ্ট কমফোর্ট। প্রত্যেকটা প্লেসের কথা বলতে থাকুন, আপনি শুরুতে পিকের কথাই বলুন না কেন, পিকে,
হুম।
ক্লক টাওয়ার আর শিপইয়ার্ড, গ্রাভিয়ার্ড, যে প্লেসগুলোতে আসলে টিমরা নিজেদের বেসিক ল্যান্ডিং গুলো কমপ্লিট করে থাকে। বা আমি যদি মিলের কথা বলতে চাই, আমরা কিন্তু জানি অলরেডি যে আমাদের পছন্দের টিমের ল্যান্ডিং পজিশন কোথায়। ইনফ্যাক্ট বাংলাদেশি টিম রেড হকস এর ল্যান্ডিং পজিশন কোথায়, তবে সেখানে স্ট্র্যাটেজিক্যাল কি পরিবর্তন আসছে এবং আজকের দিনে ল্যান্ডিং কোথায় করছেন তারা, কোথাও কি
এটা কিন্তু
তাদেরকে
ইম্পর্টেন্ট।
ড্রপ ফাইটে জড়াতে হচ্ছে কিনা, এটা অবশ্যই আমাদের চোখে রাখতে হবে।
এটা অনেক ইম্পর্টেন্ট।
এক্স্যাক্টলি।
ড্রপ ফাইট অফ ল্যান্ডিংটা আই থিংক যেটা বলতে চাচ্ছি, ল্যান্ডিংটা হচ্ছে কোনোভাবেই আরএচকের জন্য হচ্ছে গিয়ে আমি চাই না যে এরকম সিচুয়েশন আসুক যাতে তারা অন্য একটা টিমের সাথে স্টার্টিং এ এনগেজ হয়ে যাবে ফাইটে। তাদের সবগুলা প্লেয়ার আই থিংক বিশেষ করে
ব্যাপারগুলোর উপর অনেক টু বি যেটাই বলুন না কেন,
হুম, হুম,
বাট যারা আসলে অন্যান্য টিম রয়েছে ইন্টারন্যাশনাল প্ল্যাটফর্ম থেকে নিজেকে প্রমাণ করতে এসেছে এবং
হুম,
অলরেডি চ্যাম্পিয়ন টিম ফ্যালকন তারাও থাকছেন এই মঞ্চে। তো সেই প্রত্যেকটা টিম, প্রত্যেকটা প্লেয়ারের স্ট্র্যাটেজি, প্রত্যেকটা টিমের ক্যারেক্টার স্কিল ইউজেস আর বা যদি বলতে চাই গান কম্বিনেশন কিন্তু স্টাডি করতে হবে খুব নিখুঁত ভাবে। যদি কোনো টিম
ইয়েস,
নিজেকে
অবভিয়াসলি।
চড়া উতরায় বা একেবারে টপ পজিশনে রাখতে চায়, তবে স্টাডিটা কিন্তু এই ধরনের লবিতে খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট।
আর ফ্লিকারের আজকের দিনে অনেক বেশি রুল প্লে করা লাগবে। অনেক মারাত্মক ইম্পর্টেন্ট রুল প্লে
Vez dele também pra fora. Então agora sim, agora pode mostrar ali todo o seu trabalho, todo o seu potencial. É um jogador que precisa estar muito bem para o Fluxo desempenhar também aquele Free Fire de altíssima qualidade.
E veio fazendo uma campanha absurda, né? Como cresceu o MT7 soma muito bem ao lado de toda a equipe do Fluxo para conquistar aí WB, Copa, enfim, conseguiu aí fazer uma campanha absurda. Então é interessantíssimo ver essa chegada do MT7.
under the radar, and when people suspect it the least, they go in for the strike. But of course, they are not the only birds in the air this time. We've got Red Hawks. For the first time ever, Bangladesh is going to be joining the fight, and they have got a really good coach behind the scenes as well. We've got Coach Duker, who has got all of the game knowledge you would ever want, you would ever need in the world of Free Fire, but it's all about the application of that knowledge out there on the battlefield.
It's going to be nerve-wracking. I can't imagine how the players must be feeling, right? First ever international tournament that they qualify, and it had to be the Esports World Cup. I think coming into 2025, the most important thing when we look at teams like Red Hawks and Hotshot Esports is the underdog element that they bring. Hotshot Esports, they finished 15th last year, but who's to say that they don't have a closer shot this year? Especially when you look at teams that are dominating, like Team Falcons, you mentioned it, they finished 9th in spring, and they only got here because they were the defending champions. There was an alternate universe that we wouldn't even have Team Falcons.
Yeah, and that's insane, right? But the 9th position is not what it's all about, because we did see Fluxo last year at Free Fire EWC 24. They walked away with the exact same rank, the 9th spot, and then they went on to the global finals to call themselves the world champions. Perhaps not the EWC world champions, but the global finals champions for the world of Free Fire as well. So game after game, competition after competition, it is all about what they go out there and they get done. It's not some sort of consistency that you can expect for them to carry on competition into competition, because yes, they may be good, but others are rising to the occasion as well.
Yeah, and some of them are playing today. Like Core Memory Esports, for example, this is one of the, for me, the biggest underdog coming in from the strongest region in the world.
Yeah.
Because when we saw them in spring, Core Memory really feels like not a Core Memory, right? They have been sidelined a lot of times. Their performance have been really up and down. You look at the players and you look at the accolades that they have, it makes you scratch your head what exactly went wrong. But yet they are here at Free Fire EWC 25, overshadowing Team Falcons, and it makes you wonder if they can take it further, or was that just a lucky stroke?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And of course, we do see the fact that Falcons actually pulled away Limit from their core, but what they got off of that trade was Cougar, right? Cougar has got that EWC experience. He was in participation. He is actually the world champ in Core Memory, so he carries on some vital memory from last year into this squad. Yes, they're most definitely the underdogs. They were ranked 8th from, I don't think that is going to be a testament to how they perform in here today. It's a whole new sheet. It is how they balance the stress out there on that stage. That magnificent stage, by the way. I have not seen a stage that beautiful my whole life, Husky.
When they told us they upgraded it, I didn't know what to expect, but this has completely blown all my expectations out the water. Though I would say, for anyone who got overexcited, I think we need to put this caveat out there, right? Cougar, yes, EWC 24 champion, but as a sub. We have to put it out there, because we have to manage the expectation that, sure, he's a world champion, but he didn't play on that stage at that point, right? He wasn't the one that brought it home for the Falcons Nest. I'm not discrediting his efforts, but I think it's a very different perspective when you're watching on the sidelines compared to actually being on that stage and playing against 17 other best teams from around the world.
That's how insane Falcons were last year, because this guy was a monster for sure in FFWSC out of Thailand. He didn't even need to participate, but I understand exactly where you're coming from. Let's see exactly how they get the job done out there. Core Memory Esports XKOG. That's how they are branded this time round. We want to see more from them. But Alpha 34, let's talk about the Brazilian squad a little bit as well. All new squad, aggressive flair, the underdogs out of Brazil, but I think Raja thinks that they're going to be faring pretty well this time around, and I think she has got her mind in the right place.
I agree, right? Alpha 34, they finished 3rd. The only team that came behind them was Pain Gaming, and there was a substantial point gap when they qualified. So this underdog team, sure, that's going to be the title for now, but I think in an ever-growing landscape of the Brazilian League, if you can qualify for an international event off of the local tournament, that itself is a statement. Now, we want to see if Alpha 34 can continue to push that envelope, right? Can you start making a statement? Because locally, you can be the strongest, but what really matters the most is if when you clash with the rest of the world, are you still that fearful team?
We've got the returning Tigers as well. Hotshot Esports from Pakistan, the finest squad out of the scene. In 2024 EWC, they managed to walk away with the 15th spot. Nothing much to scream about, but it is all about how you come back season after season, time and time again, a little bit better than you were the previous time. I'm expecting a lot from this Pakistani squad.
Me too. And I think we have to really give them their flowers because Hotshot Esports roster has been together for as long as you can remember, right?
Yeah.
Till as old as time, from a region that has been struggling on the international stage for so many seasons. The fact that they're still willing to stick together for another year and then another year after that is very, very commendable. Do I expect them to go far? I sure hope so. But once more, this is the spot. And if they can finish 15 last year, this year the bar is going to be set slightly higher.
Virtus Pro as well, you see them on the screen, veteran experience. The players have got a little bit of experience from Free Fire at EWC 24 and the returning trio. You've got Diamond, Nameless, Exposi, along with a couple of new faces on the squad as well, mainly Fuvarak and Boonjame on the sub. But of course, we have got a video from the Falcons Nest awaiting you guys as well as we gear up Bermuda. Enjoy, we'll be back with you in a sec.
We are live here at Esports World Cup 2025 Boulevard, and as you guys can see, we are at a very special place. What a vibrant vibe, isn't it? At Falcon Nest, and it is the headquarters of Team Falcons. So into our main course today. This is a very vibrant place, a very special place to who those love gaming, esports, and here is a showcase that all of the achievement and of course the academic belongs to Team Falcons. So today, let's catch up with me some little information about this thing, shall we? Last year on home soil, Team Falcons competed in 18 of the 22 esports at EWC 2024, demonstrating impressive level of play across a variety of games. Their performance was highlighted by the first place finishes in the Esports World Cup Free Fire, my beloved game, and Esports World Cup Call of Duty Warzone. They also secured the second place finishes in the Mobile Legends Bang Bang, the Mid-Season Cup 2024 Esports World Cup, Esports World Cup Apex Legends, Esports World Cup featuring Rocket League, and Esports World Cup Tekken 8. The organization's stellar results here in Riyadh were more than enough to secure them the first place to finish in the EWC 2024 Club Championship points. Now, in 2025, Team Falcons are currently holding 750 points and they are competing in 19 games. Of course, they are hungry for more points. Do you guys think that they can secure and defend the previous club championship? I do, they can, because this year is going to be really tough. That is all we have.
Well, will Falcons be the champions again? Will they walk away with the club championship? I think Yunsol had hit the nail right on the head. They are in so many titles, so many games, aiming for the top. The probability is really high.
If I see a shelf behind the scenes with that much trophy, you bet I will put my money the Team Falcons have a really good shot at winning the club championship again. Free Fire was a contributor to it.
Yeah.
In fact, when they won Free Fire in 2024, it was the second championship title that they won for EWC at that point of time, and then they follow up with a lot more. But here we go. Without further ado, it's time to head into Bermuda for round number 1 between Group A and Group B. And I gotta say, a lot of these teams gotta start off strong.
Yeah, absolutely. You see some eyes closed there. You see some prayers being made. Of course, no amount of divine intervention can help a squad when they hot drop another one and are a little starved for those weapons. Luck will most definitely come into play. There's no amount of homework you can do for day number 1 here at Free Fire at EWC 2025. Because another squad might be thinking exactly what you've got in your mind for those drop spots, looking for those weapons early on.
Some teams that, you know, it's worth mentioning since we do have some time, hopefully before they start shooting at each other. Vision System, right? One of the few underdogs. Like, we remember some of their names, like Jota, he's been here, but the fight has already broken up. And speaking of the devil, it is going to be Vision System right on the money with Core Memory KOG. Jota knocked down by Zensi, and that is not really what you want. And CXK are making it work.
Yeah, fantastic bait and switch there, and it is Cougar with the very first elimination of the game. And it looks like Zensi continuously on fire. 4 eliminations, the first squad to get knocked out. Vision system, unfortunately, they did not have the vision to stay away from one of the deadliest squads out there.
I am so sorry. I was doing my job. Vision system, not the exit that anyone would want, but that's how competition is. Core Memory,
Yeah, man.
strong start. It is also a team that we talked about, the underdogs from Thailand, and you don't really get that title easily. And the fact that Core Memory got off to a 4-point start, it is a dream opening, especially when they have control of Clock Tower.
Yeah, and we were highlighting Cougar as well as to how he was the sub out of Falcon. When you let this guy play, you see exactly what happens, right? First blood material in Core Memory Esports. XKOG picking up the first 4 points, the only squad to get into a tussle early on and to walk away clean, not allowing their opponent's vision system to get away from Clock Tower at all. But of course, that is not to the... we can't really judge vision system all that too early, right? Because these hot drops can be absolutely deadly sometimes. Once again, luck comes into play. You never know what sort of a weapon you're going to be finding out there. And unfortunately for them, luck just wasn't on their side early game at Bermuda.
Yeah, could be on our side though. Sometimes we say something and it just happens.
That's all the time.
Yeah, it sounds scripted, but I promise you, we did not plan this at all. Kyong actually gets knocked down by Peter Afar. Vitality now being caught in the crossfire. The Team Falcons on the tail. And I do wonder how this is going to turn out, right? Especially with Peter, it's going to be forcing the rest of Vitality away. They will escape the Falcons. Thanks for now, Diggs out in the air, but no follow-up shots, so Falcons only find one.
Yeah, well played by Vitality. So if anyone is wondering, like, Vitality, where did they come from? If you know of a squad that used to be known as the Falcon Hunters, Bigatron Esports, they are the brand that was acquired. Vitality, they have got what it takes to really wreck some of the hopes of these other squads out there. But early game, being caught in a tussles, not faring them all that too well. Thankfully, they had their jump pad in hand, managing to quickly reposition. Cougar and squad now. Core Memory continuing their prowl. Compound to compound, looking for those vending machines because you know you want those helmets, you want those level 3 Wests out there as well.
Yeah, get the revive if there is a need for that. We see Oscar equipped by Cougar. A good time to talk about the very recent update, July 1st.
Bye-bye Tatsuya.
Bye-bye Tatsuya. Good riddance. To a certain degree, I know the whole world hated Tatsuya. Well, not the whole world, but most people didn't like how the direction that Tatsuya is heading towards. We get Oscar back. We get some decent buffs, Skylar, Homer, Cassie got buff. So it gets me excited every single time. And here it is, Falcons catching up to Vitality and finds 2 more bodies to add onto the list.
Yep, absolutely. And this is the kind of pacing you gotta fear if you're the opponents of Falcons. You don't want to be coming across a squad that is desperate to go back-to-back in terms of championship. They are, once again, the champions of Free Fire at EWC 24. They want to pull in 25 as well to their side. And obviously, Club Championship is waiting for the brand. Koja flies away. Peter has got the right gun and knocks him out of the air, putting Vitality down onto the ground. One final survivor quest.
That was the last
one
guy.
goes out as well. Bye-bye Vitality. Too early.
Really too early. So far, the points have been skewed towards 2 Thai teams, Core Memory and Team Falcons. We saw the earlier video talking that On Fire is the only quote-unquote survivor from last year, but we also saw Peter, right? It's time to do Peter justice because he also won with the team. And it's good to see that Peter is still got it. And we know Koskyu is behind the scenes as the analyst, and one more to charge is definitely a bit heartbreaking, but another fight breaks out. Couple of Riptide Rhythms right towards Alpha 34, and Liz has no chance.
Yeah, not even the time turner could save this guy, Lins. They pulled out the time turner right over the jump pad. Brilliant in terms of execution, but unfortunately, as they try to fly away, EVOS Esports just way too good with those long shots, especially when you've got this one-kid Rasya on your squad. VSK in hand, he's playing on meta right now, walking in with the Skylar, Riptide Rhythm on the buff, but here comes Red Hawks, and they are looking for the birds in the sky. Falcons dropping Kororo, the rest of their players a little bit too far away for the hunt. But Red Hawks with 3 eliminations already, I think they are off to a fantastic start.
We know the psychology behind fear, and most people fear the unknown, and I think Red Hawks are the unknown right now. This Bangladeshi team out of nowhere, no one really knows who they are and what they can bring. Taking 3 points for themselves at the very start. And I think when you play with this mindset that no one knows who you are and you really got nothing to lose, maybe that's the motivation that Red Hawk needs to push it further. EVOS Divine now arriving at Factory, and that other occupants, you have Core Memory, you have Alpha 34, basically scattered around this compound. EVOS, they're not going to make an entry just yet, but I think holding this perimeter is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And of course, you've got Liu here as well. Alpha 34 managing to get away from harm's way just moments ago, but perhaps out of the pan, straight into the fire. They've got a good wall now, blocking off the vision of Core Memory from spotting them out in the open. But the question is, does somebody rotate behind them? And as I asked that question, thank you very much, production. You've got Red Hawks heading straight in towards Factory as well. This is really dangerous. Alpha, they need to quickly reposition if they want to live another circle. Question is, where is this next circle going to bring us though, Husky?
Yeah, I hope we go towards Factory. That would be crazy. That would be a deviation that you don't see often, but I think we might be heading towards Factory, right? We saw the Dinoculus being used earlier on by Red Hawks. That's why they are so confident going to the compound. The earlier takedown on Team Falcons forced them to reset. That's why, look at this rotation. It is so late. They are scanning Shipyard as the circle closes in towards Factory.
And Falcons just playing the game of revival outside the circle. Now, this zone is not going to hurt you all that too much for the time being. They're looking for those coin machines. They're looking for the extra cash in their pockets to get those upgrades before getting involved in yet another tussle. And obviously, with all of these coins, purchasing a jump pad, going in for the very quick reposition is not going to be too difficult at all for Falcons. The veterans playing this really smart.
Absolutely. Even in the bigger scheme of things, there's a couple of teams that like to play it slow, right?
Yeah.
We heard earlier on when Carol was doing the team introduction, she said the boogeyman of the final circle, Fluxo. You see them on the map right now. They're coming in from the southern side towards Mars Electric. They're going to run into Red Hawks if they continue that trajectory. But Red Hawks also understand that they cannot hang around Mars Electric for too long, so they are going to make that rotation towards that western side.
A fantastic read of the circle by both Red Hawks and Fluxo. And Red Hawks trying to flank around towards the southern side as well. Spotting out Team Fluxo makes the right decision to back away, because out in the open, it's not like they can't take a fight, but you're going to be using a lot of your resources, losing a lot of your glue walls, medkits, just absorbing those shots. That's not a fight you want to take. Very smart play from the Bangladeshi squad.
Now, we even see them use another Dinoculus to scan out the same area that they came from. And Core Memory, they just got spotted out. Shots were fired, and this could cascade into a full-blown fight between at least 5 different squads at Factory.
Oh yeah. AGAL, one of the returning squads as well. Hailing from Thailand, we want to see more from them. And obviously, the bigger question is whether or not Dew is going to be in his top performance today, because we've seen time and time again, whenever Dew is not hitting those long shots, you just don't see AGAL walking away with a lot of points.
One of the few players that has experienced the lowest of point in his career, right? The biggest heartbreak, and still stuck around. Through thick or thin, he came close to a World Championship title 2-3 years ago, and then he never got the same achievement after that.
Look at that. Something so rare, man. The portal goal being used after so many seasons.
That is an expensive investment, but it did put Core Memory in a decent position.
Yeah.
But I do fear if this circle closes down to the southern side, Core Memory are going to have to jump.
I think this is a brilliant play from Core Memory, using that portal go to get on top of the silo. They've got that bird's eye vision. They've got the long-range weapons in their hands as well. You've got the Woodpecker on their side. You've got the AC-80 that is spotted out as well. I will not be surprised if one of them got to their airdrop to pull out an AWM. But we have to catch up with them in a little bit. AGAL, as they rotate around, the bigger question is, will they be able to find the players of hot shots before they find them? Because this next circle is going to be really important, and quite a number of teams are betting on the fact that it's going to be at Factory, and that is where we go. So AGAL is most definitely going to be pulled straight towards Team Hot Shots, and this is just not good for business. Fluxo on the way into that circle as well. There's a potential 3-way outside the circle, because neither one of these 3 squads can sneak in towards that next zone undetected.
This is such a Fluxo thing to do, right? Playing it slow. We know that they like Mars Electric, and there's a good chance that that's where they're looking to take over. But with this circle moving closer to the western side of the map, I think Fluxo might just think about booking it straight into Evo's Divine and Red Hawks and maybe giving AGAL a free pass towards Pochinok where they will meet up with Hotshot. Finally, the southern side of Clock Tower is where Team Falcons have perched their birds for now.
Pain Gaming, a team that we haven't highlighted all that too much just yet. Qualifying in here from the 4th spot out of Brazil. Built for the big stage for sure, despite being overshadowed by Fluxo pretty much all the time. This is a squad that has got consistency built into them. You want to see a little bit out of that as well. Recent top 6 in the global finish as well. So this is a team that brings in a lot of promise to the ZWC stage.
You see the airdrop collected by Team Falcon, so they were able to finally take their time and get ready for the end game, right?
Yeah, that's a big play there.
It's incredible. The fact that they were able to really read the situation right, understanding that most teams are going to head for the circle and Fluxo likes to play south side.
Yeah.
Falcons got the entire north arsenal to themselves and now they are ready to begin a potential siege into factory, but I think the smarter way is to wait for Alpha 34 or Evo's Divine to start an engagement.
Yeah, and you know we are on standby for some pandemonium. 12 minutes in, 10 squads still alive and kicking. Each and every single squad stacked with players. 40 players out there on the battlefield right now. And this circle is going to get a tad bit too tight in a couple of seconds. This does not look good for some of them who are outside of factory, baby.
And I can't believe AGAL ran into Fluxo. MT7 needs to go, but at least they found Horus due with the backup of the rest of his team and the play zone knocking down MT7. Fluxo down to just Bobs against the might of AGAL. This could be his final resting spot on Bermuda. Bobs has nowhere to go, takes the launch pad, wants to escape, but Cypher says no. Fluxo are out.
As anticipated, they bump into each other on the way towards factory. And Fluxo, unfortunate in the first bout, the first engagement they get into, they walk away with just 1 point on their side. But of course, they've managed to take away a player from the side of AGAL. Perhaps that will punish them a little bit later on. Virtus Pro circling on in. Hotshot can't get the job done just yet. And Pain Gaming showing them exactly how to get the job done. Action stealing away Diamond from their hands. Pain Gaming a tad bit annoyed, but they will go all out to shut down Hotshots as well, who have not gotten into the factory compound just yet.
Virtus Pro, a desperate move to beeline into factory, did not pay off at all. Completely sandwiched by 2 different squads. And because of that hotshot, they now get some room to breathe. They have ended up alerting Pain Gaming of their position, but it is still a far gap to close. We see even on the kill feed, Red Hawks, they are starting to make their presence known.
Okay, X-Bozzy now needs to start to move. He's got the VSK in hand. Good rate of fire off of that sniper. But the question is, if you bump into too many players, what can you do?
Red Hawks took out AGAL. That is impressive.
Very.
And here comes the siege. Next on the list going to be Evo's Divine. Not an easy one, but Flicker, you see the smile on his face. They're feeling really confident about this.
Yeah, man, this is not the kind of zone you want to be flirting with. And Red Hawks circling on in. And this time it's going to be up against EVOS Esports. But Nate from afar. Razia wants a piece of this and he finds Scooters. Coach Hill with the God Nate. Ray with the M590 looking for one for himself as well. They won't find those glue walls first. And quickly repositioning. Smart play out of the Indonesians. Flicker, the final one standing here for the side of Red Hawks.
Impressive, just perfect frag from Kochu to set the team up for success. Red Hawks runs in game 1 ends right here. Virtus Pro also out of the equation. And now we're down to just 6 teams. Evo's Divine now having to come into factory from the perimeter. They gotta deal with Falcons.
Yeah, as expected, back-to-back eliminations here, just way too crowded. But surprisingly, the action hasn't gotten out of hand just yet. And look at Falcons, man, from being close to wiped out, they are now one of the top 6 squads and they are all geared up for victory here. Peter and squad, they've got the loot needed, they've got the weapons needed as well to find dominance in this final circle. See exactly how they circle around as Core Memory Esports needs to now get out of this factory.
That silo play early on is paying off. They get such a good position to work with, eliminating Hotshot Esports in the process. And we see now the battlefield is starting to light up. Team Falcons making their presence known, taking out the members of Pain Gaming and Alpha 34. The Brazilians completely vanquished.
Yeah, 6 eliminations, make that 8 now for the side of Falcons. Core Memory Esports circles around looking for a victim. They will find nothing except an empty part of this circle. Great position to hold on to. Falcons up against EVOS on the other hand. From the wall, those MGL shots are going to find the connection, but for the time being, there's a little bit of a peace treaty between the two.
Core Memory is just going to let this play out on the northern side. There's nothing that they need to worry about except for a moving circle, which they will start to lean into. But for EVOS Divine, making it past this wall is going to be a mountainous task with Falcons guarding it.
Oh, fantastic. It's the circle now looking for the reposition. 3 squads left in here, all from Southeast Asia, 2 from Thailand, 1 from Indonesia. Who walks away with the very first booyah of the day? Kororo has got the weapon of doom, the M79 grenade launcher in hand, trying to lob those nades over the wall. And immediately as the Indonesians hear that, they back away from that wall, wanting nothing to do with his weapon. But the question is, can they play this circle without putting themselves in danger? The first team to rotate around usually is the first team to get punished. And the Riptide Raider breaking down the defenses of Core Memory. Ray wants a piece of this. Rosa in hand. Cougar just not the right weapon for a CQC and runs straight in with the Oscar. The Valiant Dash drops the players. And it is EVOS that crushes Core Memory.
A valiant dash in vain. And EVOS Divine now stands toe-to-toe with Team Falcons. We've seen this play out last year in the final round of the Grand Finals. Deja vu for both teams, but both teams with a new face overall. And now EVOS Divine, they sort of know where Falcons are going to come in from. Razia is going to be the key.
First time the Valiant Dash making its appearance here at EWC, and it's such a solid play as well from the side of EVOS. On fire, has got the weapon of doom. M590 in hand, aim god, looking for one, but all he finds is the floor. Coach Shield finds the back of a player from the side of Falcons. Peter hanging on for his dear life alongside On Fire, and Falcons from champions of the previous year, EWC 24, to champions of Bermuda as we open up Free Fire at EWC 25.
Just like what most people would expect, Team Falcons once more rings in the first ever opening win, setting another benchmark for the Free Fire EWC 25. But I gotta say, this final circle brings back so many core memories from last year. EVOS Divine once more came close, but the kryptonite have always been the Falcons.
Your number 1 and number 2 squads from EWC 24 appearing in the final circle of the very first opener match. Dude, it seems like we scripted this. It cannot get any better than this, Husky.
There's no way that we could write a script that is as good as this. But it really sets the precedence for the rest of the team. And even when we look at some of the competitors that were knocked out early on, I gotta say, teams like Red Hawks also made a splash. Hotshot Esports also made an impact by threatening teams like Virtus Pro as we approach the endgame. I think if you're EVOS Divine, there's nothing to be disappointed about that round 1. Razia put up a hell of a show. But at the end of the day, when you're up against Falcons, you have to be at 101%.
And Red Hawks managing to shut down AGL as they would desperately try to get in towards that factory compound. That was perfect. We wanted to see more from the squad out of Bangladesh, and we get to see exactly what they're worth. Red Hawks definitely in the top half of our leaderboard, as we're going to spot it in a little bit. But this was a phenomenal start of the day. We're going to be taking a quick short break, guys. When we come back, it's game number 2 at Purgatory, baby.
Triple kill.
มาดิเล่นได้กดซ้ายไล่ซ้าย
ตีแล้วไปดิ
ไปเขียนไล่ซ้ายหน่อย
สกัดเลยนะร้อยได้กันแล้ว
ตีเป็นโดนใบอยู่นะเว้ยโดนใบอยู่
ไม่ต้องรีบบอกขวามาคนนั้นนี่
กู M7 จะหมดเหรอเพื่อน
เก็บปืน
รอดูกูหน่อย
หน้ากูเต็มเลย
มึงรีบได้ปะ
ได้อยู่4 ได้
ต่อยวอลได้ปะปาเฟต
ร้อยระเบิด100ข้างในเนี่ยชิด
กูมีออสการ์นะเว้ยขวาเนี่ย
กูมีเหมือนกัน
ตีสองนั้นหรอขวาเนี่ย
ตัวเดียวเจนกดตัวนี้ไว้
ปัดกูเฮียโดนดาวสวยแต่ได้บ้านมือกูหน่อยพีเตอร์มือกูหน่อยดิเดี๋ยว
กูเล่าพี่เจน
เอ้ย
The calm before the storm as we see Falcons' point of view before they secure the first ever booyah here at Free Fire at EWC 25. And one of the storylines for the team going into EWC was the fact that there was a lot of uncertainty. The roster had changed vastly. We only had On Fire left. And so people questioned whether Falcons were going to be able to bring it back. And I mean, I think this is enough proof in the pudding, gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We were not expecting Peter to go back. Thus, like, it's only On Fire that we only saw in that video. But Peter finally showed up. Finally, like, really ramped up the game of Team Falcons, and this is the result.
I think for the most part of it, at least we see that On Fire. As soon as they got that initial pick, I wish we had like an English Thai member a part of our group, because then we can understand what's going on with the comms. We saw them take it really slow, but that sudden pick onto Aim God just opens a lot of opportunity for the team to start flooding on in.
Well, I felt them like really energetic, right? So I think it was like good words, maybe, but I would like to know too.
Absolutely. Now here's the match rankings for our previous matchup. Team Falcons sitting on the top of the nest, because we did have the Falcons nest here in Riyadh, and already off to a great start. First game of the day, first on top of the leaderboard, securing a whopping number of points. Some other teams, though, not so great performances. I know, Raja, we had a quick discussion during that break just now. The Brazilian team's looking a little bit slow today.
Yeah, I think it's because the AJ team, the teams from Asia, they normally are more aggressive, and I think Fluxo is feeling something now that they just got wiped out really fast. So I think they need to improve more the game, like be more aggressive maybe, because as I'm saying, like right now, Thai teams and Indonesian teams, they are really fast. Like they wiped every squad like really fast, and I couldn't even like blink my eyes, and then everything just it's done. It's done. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Gideon,
Yes.
you mentioned to us just now on the panel during that break, lots of active skills being utilized this match.
Yes, no. Again, after we saw the initial patch come on through, we're thinking that maybe Tatsuya is just, dead in the water, right? Is there any use for him still, especially unless, you are guaranteed to almost secure a kill? You must always go in as 2. You must always look to try and find these eliminations fast and then start kind of snowballing out of control. But now I feel like the game has taken a more tactical approach, right? Great utilization of Oscar, and not to forget, of course, you got to pair it up. Those Riptide rhythms still as deadly as ever to open those holes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you have a great sniper, the Skylar, the Riptide rhythm, that is a must. Now, the Oscar, though, probably it's because of the 1st of July changes for Tatsuya, so we barely see Tatsuya being used. Oscar, that's a great play. It was pointed out by the caster earlier how they managed to use that in perfection. And as you mentioned, Raja, I mean, as quickly as that, they managed to eliminate a squad.
Yeah, and then Neptune, I think you put EVOS as one of your top picks, right? Okay, why did EVOS really fall short in that matchup? Because they looked really good in the initial fight. It was just that last closing battle with Falcons. Like, where did they kind of fall short here? Was it positioning? Was it a weapon disadvantage? Like, what really held them back here?
I think they're trying to keep distance because Razia, the sniper of the team, usually it's a 3-1 split for them. And because it is a small circle already, there's not so much of space, even the position of those silos and the wall, so they couldn't get away from that. And once Team Falcons managed to use that Oscar against them, they just started falling down. Only Cold Shield was remaining, and there's not so much that you can do on a 1v2 situation.
Well, I mean, that's not it. And that's not the only part of the story, because I feel like EVOS Divine notoriously aren't a team that kind of plow through multiple teams at once. They're always, hey, I'll take you on. Okay, quick reset, and then we go back out again. And unfortunately, the call from Aim God was like, all right, we got to take a step back. Had they just taken a 0.5 moment to, hey, show some presence against them, maybe Falcons would be a little bit more hesitant to walk up or force them to use a couple of glue walls, get those resources out early.
Well, I think we need to see for the next matches, because they need to keep they need to keep the same game that they did in this last one, because I'm not sure if this will affect, for example, the Brazilian players. I think they can be like different from the next match, and I'm really anxious about it because I don't want to see this things happening, you know. But of course, we all had like high expectations from Team Falcons, and they really did it. They did an amazing job, actually.
I think not only an amazing job, but I think, you know, I feel like just based off of not only the landing zones, but a couple, even, you know, Alpha 34, taking their time, they denied points at the very end. So it feels like Latam as a region is looking to kind of download how everybody else wants to kind of move across the final few, especially those last 3 circles before anything else.
I mean, one thing I know for sure, especially for Falcons, they want to ramp up into points. And then after that first match, they will study the opponent. So I think there will be a slowdown on the next map. The other teams will be ramping it up, but they will just be like the Falcons, like flying through the sky. Like the eyes are on them, studying where they will be rotating, and then later on, we'll see more elimination.
Yeah, and it's good to add that they did like a bunch of eliminations. I think it was like 15 maybe. 15? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But it counts a lot. Like talking about points right now, it's really important to them, so they can be like slow in the next match. I think it's safe for them to do it.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you there, because we see some teams, and I think this is historically a Free Fire thing. Anybody that does well during the knockout stage never wins the tournament. Ooh. So, do you really want to do well during the knockout stage? Because you might be giving away too much information to your opponents, right? There's a lot of mind games that happen with Free Fire, and you need to be very careful to play good enough to make it through to the next stage, but not too good, in that people figure out where you like to drop, how you like to play. It's a very scary time to be a Free Fire player, but we're looking at the best of the best here. So they're clearly confident in their skills. Raja, we are definitely going to have to keep an eye on the Brazilian teams, right? They're not happy with everything on Bermuda, but we're going on to Purgatory next. Is this a map that is a little bit more suited for the Brazilian teams?
I think Brazilian teams appreciate this type of, the classic ones. So in my opinion, Bermuda and Purgatory, they are the most classic that we have in our Free Fire, so I think they can be really safe. And I mean, the landing spots of the Brazilian teams are really good, but we just need to pray that no one try to get into our landing spots, since the Brazilian teams really didn't like a really good job in the last match. So I think it's good to consider, but I mean, it's difficult to say something about like if they will be good or bad. But well, I actually heard a lot about teams from Asia is studying our game. So that's actually true. So probably Brazilian teams, they are like studying to the games of the Asian players.
I can actually confirm on this, right? I think that, even from last year's EWC, a lot of Southeast Asian teams were looking at how Brazil was ended up playing, because a lot of them were pretty shocked that most held their ground against them, and therefore now coming into the second year of EWC, they're like, no, this cannot happen again.
Well, survivors, it looks like we are ready to jump into game number 2. Purgatory is our next map here for Free Fire at EWC 25. Going over to our casters, game number 2.
Thank you very much, panel, and I am in absolute agreement with Haja. Consistency is key, but a tad bit here because we see with our little eye what you guys do not see just yet, but we will keep the surprise for you in a little bit. You're back with your boys, the Mustachio. Fantastic Bermuda showdown that was, but of course in game number 2, Husky at Purgatory, neither heaven nor hell, these boys are about to be tested.
Hell have now Fury like a team that is hungry for the win, and I gotta say, coming into game number 2, especially when we look at Purgatory as a map, one of the classic like Raja mentioned, but also one of the biggest that we have.
Yeah.
And usually it would instill the habit of teams playing slower, making bigger rotations, right? And it might benefit teams like Fluxo, AGAL, Team Falcons who have adopted that. As we hop into the map, we see the teams start to parachute out. VP is a team that loves Mode House, but for this map, Mode House is not a point of consideration because the flight path is pretty unforgiving.
Pretty deadly, brother.
We are going south side, close to Central Fire Brigade and Lumber Mill. You know who's happy?
Yeah.
Team Falcons.
Yeah, Falcons.
They love it.
Absolutely. Fluxo, on the other hand, usually their drop spot at Mount Villa, they're going to try to potentially get there. Question is, because of this cute flight path, do they get some uninvited visitors here as well? Because we do see Pain Gaming heading in roughly that same direction alongside Core Memory KOG as well. Fluxo, once again, going to be trying to play the edges of the circle. We'll catch up with them in a little bit because for the time being, look at how spread out Falcons is out there.
This is insane. Falcons did their homeworks. Most of the time, if you take Lumber Mill, you take Lumber Mill.
Yeah.
But spreading out like this means that Team Falcons, they know exactly who they're going up against.
Absolutely, yeah.
Virtus Pro, they are still poking in close to the Mode Hub. We see Force being taken by Vitality. Usually they might make a rotation to Ski Lodge. At least that's how they've been doing it for most of the time. Earlier conflict at Brasilia, we see Red Hawks, we see Alpha 34, and we also see EVOS Divine. EVOS Divine coming out on top in this earlier engagement. AF only getting 1, but 1 is not enough. Kochio actually throws his body at 1-7. He needs to clutch this out, but Vanguard around him, it's not going to be easy. And he will be cleaned up. EVOS Divine off to a great start.
And Alpha 34, unfortunate for them. They only pick up 2 points after shutting down a couple of players from the side of EVOS Esports. But of course, that doesn't continue. Hot shots though, hearing all of those gunshots slowly circling in towards the compound of EVOS. Question is, do they survive? In the meantime, we also have Vision System. They got taken out a tad bit too earlier on in Bermuda. Can they survive long enough up against Red Hawks? Kudush says no. The Mag 7 to the chest. Joda out of the equation already, and just like that, we see Vision System down in the dumps once again.
Red Hawks once more. An explosive start to the round. 3 points. Vision System completely crippled, bruised, and battered. They have to somehow recover. Good news is that unlike round number 1, they still have 1 survivor. But when you look at this replay from Red Hawks and Najat, really just right on the money with the trigger finger. Every single shot just coming through. EVOS Divine as well. Even off screen, we see Bobs taking a number for himself.
Yeah, and a little bit unfortunate here for Vision System because we did see Shix getting aimed a tad bit earlier on. So Red Hawks know exactly where their opponents are. And the Bangladeshi squad is making a conscious choice to not go in here for the chase. Vitality, on the other hand, in a little bit of a pickle. They fly straight into AGAL. Those grenades doing heavy, massive damage alongside the FGL, but Koja stepping in at the wrong time. He down onto the ground. Instant pickup thanks to the Tiva, but Kyom now put down onto the ground. And Vitality losing too many players back.
To be knocked down, Vitality wants revenge, but AGAL is not going to make it easy. They got to work for it every step of the way. Koja getting knocked down once more. more by Chinoy as the numbers of Vitality dwindle. Diggs is number 4, and AGAL deny a revenge.
Oh, fantastic play by AGAL. They were the receivers in that battle. It was Vitality that came flying up straight against them, and a great opener from Cypher with that M590. But now Hotshot up against EVOS, and unfortunately for EVOS, they are meeting their end very, very quickly because it was a double player reset earlier on. Hotshot just got 3 points off of them.
Good stuff from Hotshot. Taking out stragglers first in the long run will benefit you. And I think teams who are more experienced, right? We talk about the SEA and the Brazilian teams, they are willing to give away bodies for info because they will get that revive afterwards. But for teams like Hotshot, like Red Hawks, these points matter a lot.
Oh yeah.
We see Pain Gaming and Alpha 34 at each other's throat. Noda X gets knocked down but instantly gets brought back up to his feet. Revive for EVOS Divine once more. Unfortunately for Goose, is a bit isolated.
Yeah, Pain Gaming has got the advantage here up against Vision System. Can they get away? Pain Gaming, their debut at EWC alongside a couple of boys from the side of Vision System. Some of them do have a little bit of experience here at EWC 24. And because of the lack of numbers here, they are going to be in a little bit of a downside. Good time to pull down in the nick of time, but Gus steps out on the wrong side of it, gets nailed down to the ground. Peter, wrong gun for the situation, but thankfully they've got the numbers for backup. Maxi back it.
Pain Gaming with 3 points, and they have finally quelled the aggression from Vision System, and Jigs unfortunately will just have to stay hidden. But early on we saw a kill order put out on him by Virtus Pro, and they are hunting for that elimination.
And they're just right behind him. Unfortunately, I don't think Jigs is going to be surviving for any longer now. They'll have to catch up with him in a little bit. Fluxo, 2 points early game, flirting with the edge of the circle, heading straight in towards Max. They spot him out, Butch is in alongside MT7. That AWM, you ain't gonna get away that easy. Maxi gets snuffed out. And once again, Vision System on the back foot.
Core Memory right across, Jump taking a heap of damage. Now they can try and spam that glue wall, it goes down. Jump trying to play some footsie work, actually gets to cover, but Fluxo now kicks in the high gear, running straight at Jump, but they have no idea where Cougar is just yet. Jump not able to buy enough time, and Bobs finds that knock.
A beautiful play with that XM8. Gets the headshot, puts Jump down on the ground instantaneously. Core Memory XKOG, they've got the numbers overall for the survival, but Cougar is in hot soup right now. Surrounded by the players of Fluxo, he's about to meet his end in a little bit. EVOS continuing their onslaught up against Hotshots, down in numbers. Rasia, does he have the snipe in hand? Has got the plasma gun, but nothing up against Action Squad. Has got the rate of fire, and Rasia gets knocked down as well. EVOS again on the back foot. 2 more survivors left out there.
There can only be 1 out of 2 Tigers on the top of the mountain, and so far the Pakistani Tigers is reigning supreme. EVOS Divine still in it with 2 members. Very, very crippled in terms of manpower as we are heading deeper into the mid-game. 7 minutes. EVOS still has some time to bring the members back and restructure, but it has to happen quickly.
Virtus Pro not really hunting much out there, looking for those coins, still outside the blue zone, just tanking a tad bit of damage. This one's not going to hurt them too much just yet, but in 18 seconds they will feel the pain. But getting into the circle, and a double Arbonne scan right in front of them as well. Those Dinoculars used well to find the rotation, but unfortunate for them, their Dinoculars didn't scan anyone, but players are rotating in towards their compound a tad bit later. They're about to be in for a surprise. X-Posse on that high ground. AWM VSK in hand. A double snipe setup for one of the most dangerous snipers, Motovia. Riptide Rhythm breaking down his defenses, and Ray from the back takes advantage.
And Ray should know that there's more than just